And welcome back to the Flows Sports Fix. It's time to look at the AFL wrap of how the games went in round 5. And yes, in the studio, in the flesh, I feel so honoured. It is the Stat Man.
G'day, Clayton. How are you?
It's good. You're looking well.
I'm feeling well, thank you.
The Flowman's been going on how he's beating you in tips or something. Is there any...
Flowman needs to look closer because he's not.
I just heard that he got 8 or something. You only got 7. He was rabbiting on about that for... Well, he started talking. I just actually tuned out of the conversation, to be perfectly honest. I know I should pay attention, but
The thing I love about the Flowman is he's all very excited about having finally tied up the footy tips this year.
Oh, it's tied, okay.
After being a traitor to his own side. So he tipped against the Adelaide Crows.
That's right, yeah, he did too.
So I'm not sure that's something to be proud of, but that's for Flowman to decide. He has to sleep at night at the end of the day, so he's got to live with his own conscience.
Might explain the package he got from WA the other day. But anyway, looking at results from round number 5, Richmond way too good for St Kilda.
They were, and St Kilda have got some real issues. They look like they could be the Melbourne of 2020. I've said this a few times already, but they just don't seem to have any zest, any get up and go, any real commitment to the cause at the moment, which is far removed from the St Kilda we saw in the hub setup from last year. Richmond, after quarter time, completely dominated this contest, and never a good time to get Richmond, but on the back of consecutive losses probably isn't the ideal time. But they were far, far too good, the Tigers, 2014 to St Kilda 7-6, and they got some soul-searching to do, the Saints.
They certainly do. Then on to the game Friday night. I enjoyed this game, the little bits I was allowed to watch of it, but the Eagles, they were too good for the Collingwood Magpies.
Well, too good, yes, but only just, and Collingwood a little bit unlucky. They don't mind playing in Perth, one of the few clubs that have a good record in the West against the Eagles, at least. The Eagles were too good in the end, 16-7, 103 to 11-10, 76. Bizarre decision at Collingwood to leave Mason Cox out of this game, who I think could have really caused the Eagles some trouble down back. He traditionally does. Look, Collingwood are in a precarious position here at the moment. I said last week that Nathan Buckley will be the first coach to be sacked this year. If they go poorly on Anzac Day, it could happen sooner than we think, because there's some stuff going on at selection level around the club. Obviously, they've got some fitness concerns with some players as well. But Darcy Moore moving forward when he's one of the premier backmen in the competition, there's a lot of strange decisions being made at Collingwood at the moment that just don't seem to fit. Mason Cox being left out was one of them. I mean, he's been far from their worst player this year, Collingwood. He's much maligned, far from their worst forward. So, look, I'm not sure where they sit at the moment, Collingwood. They have a go, but that's all they've got going for them.
Yes, they've got some big problems there at Collingwood. On to the Saturday games. The Bulldogs remain... Well, they're at the top, undefeated, beating the Suns.
Yep, the Western Bulldogs had the second half off, basically. They cashed the cheque at half-time. They were leading by the better part of 12 goals, I think, at half-time. And then the Gold Coast Suns rattled off a few goals in the second half when the pressure was off. But they are the best side of the competition by the length of the Flemington Straight right now. 17-16, 118. The Gold Coast Suns 8-8-56. Gold Coast haven't won many games this year, but they certainly haven't been treated like that by any club they've played so far.
Certainly not the game that upset a lot of tipsters, because many of us went for Sydney, but the GWS Giants just snuck over. And they did it by kicking more points.
Well, they did. It looked like they'd kicked themselves out of this, to be honest, Clayton. But you've got to say, they were down by 21 points in the last quarter in this game and found a way to come back and get the job done. Kelly was the man who kicked the winning goal, but Toby Green was their inspiration in this game. I think he kicked 1 goal 7. So really, they should have won by a lot more, the GWS Giants. But the Swans, they have been teetering on the edge for a couple of weeks now. Nearly went down to the Bombers last week. Not surprised that there's a little bit of a letdown for this young side. The Giants, an important win for them, keeps them in touch with the top 8. But Swans fans, I wouldn't be too worried about it.
Port Adelaide won by a rather comfortable 28 points in the end over Carlton.
Said last week that if you're a Carlton supporter and a Carlton fan, if your club is legitimate, you win this game. And then I tipped Port Adelaide because I didn't think they were legitimate. And I was right.
You were.
As it turns out, Port Adelaide are the goods. 15-6, 96. Carlton, 9-14, 68. They got some work to do. And in fact, Carlton I'm not sure where their ceiling is, but I don't think their ceiling with the group they've currently put together plays finals.
Okay.
At any stage.
And Port Adelaide got some injury worries that I'm sure they'll be dealing with over the next few weeks, and you'll be commenting on further. Brisbane, way too good for Essendon.
Yeah, they were. In the wet, Joe Danaher, career game against his old club. I think he had 25 touches in the wet, and when I saw the conditions, I thought, well, this won't suit Danaher at all. He's the tallest man on the ground. Well, how wrong we were. Kicked a beautiful goal on the run. The Brisbane Lions did more than enough against the Bombers, and gee whiz, aren't they a frustrating mob? I'd hate to be an Essendon supporter. They give you a really good effort one week and then hardly turn up the next. The Brisbane Lions needed this win, so they'll march on, and Essendon now prepare for Anzac Day.
That they do. Then on to the games on Sunday. And the game that the Flowman was at this one, and he said the Dockers were way too good, far better than the Crows.
Well, in patches they were, but not across the entire game. Now, there's a few things we need to talk about here. First of all, Nat Fyfe and David Mundy are the heart and soul of the Fremantle Dockers still. Don't worry about that. When the Crows had a handle on both of those guys, it was when the Crows got back into the game. As soon as they broke loose and got hold of the football, good things started to happen for Fremantle. Both sides were pretty wasteful when they had their opportunities to go forward, hence the low-scoring-ish sort of game that you've got there, in pretty reasonable conditions, it must be said. But the difference in the end was just a touch of class when it mattered. And the Fremantle Dockers got the job done, and congratulations to them. It was always going to be a danger game. The Flowman tipped Fremantle to beat the Crows, and he was right. And, well, we lick our wounds and move on to next week. But if you're a Crows supporter and you put up with what you put up with last year, if you're going to lose, that's how you lose. Go down fighting.
Hawthorn and Melbourne too good.
Yeah, Melbourne blew this game to pieces in the last quarter. This was on. This was one of those banana peel games we looked at and thought, yeah, well, the Melbourne of old, they slip up here. These are the games they should win, and they've got Richmond coming up, going into Anzac Day Eve, a huge game. They always let us down. Yep. Well, they didn't this time, and it was on the back of Clayton Oliver and Christian Petrarca, who is an absolute star. He is, for mine right now, the unbackable Brownlow favourite, because not only does he get the thing and use it well, but he must catch the umpire's attention with some of the work that he does. So I can't see anyone going past him for the Brownlow medal this year. And Melbourne, like I said, really did it on the back of a big last quarter.
Geelong beat North Melbourne, not surprised there, by 30 points, but they didn't do it easy and they didn't do it pretty either.
Neither is the case here. Now, where are we? Round 5. If we were heading to the finals now, on the edge of finals, we'd be saying Geelong are absolutely no chance. I'm going to stop short of that.
Okay.
Because right now, Geelong aren't showing us anything. Really, North Melbourne, I know where they showed a little bit. Ben Cunnington was back. Jack Zeebel's going okay. They're missing a lot of reasonable players. I won't say stars. They're missing a lot of reasonable players who will make them more competitive. But Geelong just sort of in no man's land at the moment. But if there's an opportunity ahead for Geelong, if they can get a run going in the back end of the year and actually come good, they've just put together enough wins now for them to still be in the hunt. And that's how you win flags. You don't want to be the best side in April, May. You want to be the best side in August, September. So correct. With the quality of their list, I wouldn't be putting a line through the Cats yet, particularly when they're 3 wins from 5 starts. So they did what they had to do, and they take the points.
Well, you did predict them to win the flag and win it all before the season started. So
I did, and I'd tell you what, I won't shy away from that, but right now they're a long way from it.
That they are indeed, but we'll see how we go, and I think you might be right. They'll be around the mark, no doubt. All right, thank you very much, Jace, the stat man, for giving us all the latest in the AFL wrap. We'll get more from you tomorrow on the Sports Fix.
Thanks, Clayton.